Judge,
Yes,
are you going to point the camera to your beautiful smiling face?
I will. It's not quite 8:30.
Oh, all right. Just checking. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Heather. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. I say good morning to you every morning I pass your house.
And I wave back.
Good.
When are you going to tell me to start pulling them weeds in my front yard?
Well, I can't talk.
I know God is reclaiming my farm.
That's how my neighbor, she actually had said that. She goes, I see no reason to pull my weeds when she goes, it's nature. I'm like, okay, Jamie, let your backyard overrun when you have a beautiful pool, beautiful deck, and you just let the weeds overrun.
It's all this rain this year.
Yeah.
Sure, that's the problem. Could be me being lazy. But I know Judge Martin's garden is probably beautiful this year.
It's out of control. The sunflowers finally are taller than me and are opening up too many tomatoes and too many cucumbers, which I'll bring in on Monday because we can't stay on top of eating them. So
I love fresh grown tomatoes.
You know, all
they
this
will be in the
warmth and
kitchen on Monday
moisture-
morning.
Thank you.
This warmth and moisture should be about a year.
Well, this
I
year
know
we
the
got
corn
lucky
was
with
good.
cabbage for the first time.
What's that?
I said, this year we got lucky with cabbage for the first time. This is the third time that we've tried to grow it. And this is the first year where it's actually not been attacked by those white moths.
Now, when you say we, does your husband get actively involved in the agriculture?
It's him. I am secondary. This is his thing, the garden and the planting and the tending to. I am merely a helper.
So he's a nurturer.
He is. He's the one that takes care of keeping it weeded and orderly. I go out there from time to time just to grab a thing or two.
You know, some people find that cathartic. You know, the ability to bring vegetables up and eat the stuff that you grow. I mean, the last, one of my wives had a huge garden in the back, huge garden. She was Italian, and she and her dad just fresh vegetables all the time.
It was my husband's father had a home garden like that, and his uncle had a garden about 6 or 8 blocks from here that was half of a city block that he would come home and tend to at night, bushels of beans and bushels of corn. And the uncle was the true gardener. So my husband enjoys it.
A lot of these people, they generationally, they ain't from here. They're from the farms, and they bring that culture with them. I know my family certainly did. I grew up on a farm in West Virginia. This was a subsistence farm. I mean, we ate what we grew. Currency, it was my great grandfather's farm, but currency was rarely used for anything. The hillbillies.
Well, I think that when you grow it, you have a different appreciation for it, all that goes into it.
Well, you also know the care that's been, growing it's only part of it, nurturing it after it's been picked and cleaned. I mean, it's a whole process. And you know that it's from your backyard. This is our food. There's a lot that goes into gardening.
Good morning, Mr. Ashley.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Sir, you are scheduled for 8:45. We have not seen your attorney as of yet.
Okay, should I log back out and come back in at 8:45?
No. It's up to you. If you want to hang out here and keep yourself muted, when your attorney's here and ready, we'll call your case.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bowdish, what we did about 6 or 7 years ago, the city of Romulus, their senior center was selling rain barrels, and we bought a rain barrel, hooked it up
Oh.
at the house, and that's all we use to water the garden.
Well, aren't you just the green people?
Well, it's worked out nicely, I think. It's what we use to water most of the flowers too. We've been lucky this year. It's the rain barrel stayed pretty full.
Now, the flowers, is that also your husband's doing?
It is. The sunflowers, this is probably year 5 for them, and he harvests the seeds from this year for the next year. And he bought gladiolas it's probably been 3 years of the gladiolas, and he picks them up every fall and puts them in the garage and then puts them back out in the spring. That's his doing. I water and I might weed from time to time, but it's him that's out there tending to it regularly.
Oh, sunflowers are pretty when they get, 6, 7, 8, 9 feet tall. They're beautiful.
Well, I don't know how he found these, but there are some that are pink and some of that are magenta. So we have them mixed in with the standard yellow, traditional yellow.
You have a big yard?
No, not really, but I'm trying to think, for the vegetables and the peppers, he built probably something that's 8x4. And then with the sunflowers and the gladiolas it's just a little 4x4.
Did he build a raised bed?
No. It's just probably 2 board widths high. So not quite on the ground, but not truly a raised bed. It's just 2 little boxes.
Yeah, well, that's good.
I think if I let him, he would do the whole yard. So
Less grass to cut, more food to eat.
well, my goal is to get a clothesline back there somewhere I can tuck it in that you can't see it from the front.
Oh, see, those are really nice. They're not like hanging your clothes outside. They smell different. And as they market these detergents, they want you to get that smell back.
Heather, I don't know if you know that we're also arraignments. I've checked in with the deputy court administrator.
Sorry, Judge, I was answering phones.
That's okay. We're just chatting.
All right.
Over Labor Day, Your Honor, I'm going to the nation's oldest and largest county fair.
Where is that? I'm sorry.
It's in Canfield, Ohio. It's this year will be the 175th anniversary of the fair.
Oh, wow.
It's a huge rural fair, and it's about 7 or 8 miles from where my home was in Ohio. So it's a pilgrimage every year. But it's just the oldest and largest county fair in the country. Like a class reunion.
And what are
every
your,
year.
oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, what are your must-see things at the fair?
Well, it's just the people, because you know you always run into somebody, and it's on the right on the Ohio Pennsylvania border, so you get the tractor display of old tractors is over the size of a football field. I mean, you got it's just the chicken barn where they show their prize chickens. Is 4,000 square feet just for chickens.
Wow.
Tractor pulls and I mean, it's just rural. I mean, much like the farming, and whole barns full of hay that you're supposed to judge as being good or bad. And, it's just, it's like any other state fair, except it's just extremely rural. I spent years, helping 4-H kids lead their steers in the parade and stuff.
Mhm.
Because the community I grew up in was a farming community. None of it rubbed off on me.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think there's a flower on my 6 acres. Not that God didn't put there.
Not a single flower?
Not a single flower that I put there. Ask Heather.
Have you ever had anything?
No, because I don't tend it. I had a lady friend of mine once that was so frustrated with my property that she brought over a hanging basket and made me tend to it. But now, for 25 years, I rescued horses. So, I mean, I was busy. I found it easier to tend to animals than flowers and vegetables and stuff. At one time, I had 26 rescued animals in my barn.
That would seem like a full-time job, I would think.
Well, what people don't understand about that is 6 a.m., 6 p.m. every day. No weekends, no holidays, no days off. No, it's too hot. No, it's too cold. 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. every day. You tend to the animals. But when I was
That
doing
is amazing.
I had 2 young boys and a wife at the time that was really, really into it. And you had to be. But every night when I came home from work, I was on vacation. Everything I really enjoyed in the world, I owned. I liked horses. I like riding. I can do it all on my own property.
Hmm.
And now, what those animals used to eat, I have to cut.
So it sounds like you're going to start up a rescue again so you can stop cutting?
Well, and then, Judge Oakley heats his home by the wood on my property. And the other day we had a storm and I had 3 huge oak trees, 80-foot plus, almost 90-year-old trees fall. Sad. But Judge Oakley's eyes lit up because, there's enough wood there for a couple of years. But it is sad when the big trees fall. I mean, I like to look at them. I don't tend to, but I like to look at them.
There is something about seeing those old trees with the giant canopies. When I see them, I always think of the shade for the house and the cooling effect of having that, being able to have the windows open without the sun beating on any side of the house, just hearing the leaves rustle.
And in the fall, we're coming up on one of the most beautiful times of the year. When this, I got about 3 acres of old growth oak, and it's beautiful. And it's really, I'm glad though. I appreciate the fact that Judge Oakley can use it, because I'm not sure, had he not been cleaning my woods for the last several years, I'm not sure what it would look like now. And I'll tell you, Judge, if you've never seen the other side of Judge Oakley, he's like He's like Bomb the Jungle Boy. I mean, you'll see him in my backyard, 12, 15 feet off the ground, swinging a chainsaw. And I'm looking out the back window and I'm thinking, homeowners. I mean, Jesus. And I'm screaming at him, are you all right? He goes, yeah, I'm all right. It just, he works like a Sherpa. I mean, he's amazing to watch in the woods.
I was gonna say, he probably doesn't even think of it as work. It's because it's his passion. I mean, I've seen some of his woodworking, and it is amazing.
Oh, he's he's quite the outdoorsman. Well, you've been to his home. I mean, it's he's a real outdoorsman. He had a pig on the wall, the head of a pig. And below it, he had a knife. And he told me, I said it was an interesting display. And he said he made the knife by himself and killed the pig with a knife.
Mr. Bowditch, the attorney for the 845 case is here.
Oh, go ahead.
If you
Your
have
Honor.
no objection, I was going to
No.
say, I'll call that case. And if you want to give Mr. Banco a call, we
You
have
know-
cases scheduled through 10:30. So as long as he can get on before
Mr.
I'm done with my docket.
Mr. Banco was supposed to be with me at 8:15. So maybe I will give him a call. But I'm sure
Thank
he's
you,
ready.
sir.
Your Honor.
Okay. Good morning, counsel.
Your Honor, good morning.
Sir, do you need to speak to your client before the case is called?
I think we're ready to go, Judge. Mr. Ashley and I have talked at a great length.
This is 21BB00738OD. This case is Van Buren Township versus Richard Floyd Ashley. Appearances, please.
Your Honor, good morning to you and your staff. Vincent Haysha appearing with and on behalf of Mr. Richard Floyd Ashley, who appears as himself via Zoom remotely with no objection to waiving his physical presence in the courtroom.
Mr. Ashley, would you state your name for the record, sir?
Sure, Your Honor. My name is Richard Floyd Ashley.
Thank you. Today is the day and time set for sentencing in this matter. This case arises out of an incident that occurred in Van Buren Township on March the 12th, 2021. Mr. Ashley was originally charged with operating while intoxicated, was arraigned on July 1st, 2021, appeared before this court and tendered a plea to an amended count, reduced count of operating while visibly impaired. He did meet with the probation department. They did do an interview and prepare for this court the recommendation for sentencing. Counsel, you've had an opportunity to review this information with your client.
I have, Your Honor. It's factually accurate. I don't have any additions, deletions, or corrections. Just some allocution, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, Mr. Ashley stands before you completely humbled by this particular experience. And I say that because there is obviously an elephant in the room, as I'm sure the court gathered in evaluating the pre-sentence report. But I want to indicate that Mr. Ashley comes to me from a close personal friend. And in the 6 months that I've known him and got to really interact with him, I cannot say that the particular elephant in the room, for which I won't get into detail, could not be further on its face from the character of this man and the individual that he's become and what that experience forged into him. And I can state firmly that this particular offense is something that, and I see a lot of this because this is my main area of practice, this is something that Mr. Ashley has not only taken to heart, but is used to make I think will be a lifelong change in him. He knows that he has, at this point, gotten his way out and gotten a chance to reacclimate himself back. And I don't think that he would ever do anything to sacrifice that and to put himself in that position again. And I think it's evident, not just from my words, Judge, but from looking at the police report, from looking at the videos, from watching his interactions with law enforcement. It was contrite. It was accepting of responsibility from the very get-go. And I had occasion to speak with this parole officer before this case was actually initiated. I got the same response. Thankfully, he's not been violated there. He's going to continue to be monitored. But I want to indicate that Mr. Ashley, in addition to feeling bad about this, got a jump start, got himself into a substance abuse evaluation, followed that up with an outpatient course, a significant one that involved 12-step programs. And I think it's because of that, as he was screened for this particular case, he came up with not having any particular issues in terms of his needs assessment. And so I look at the recommendation, Judge, and I say to myself, what more can this court do to incentivize Mr. Ashley to remain lawful that he doesn't already have hanging over his head or that he hasn't already done in terms of rehabilitation? And so it's on that basis that I do think that this particular recommendation is appropriate, Judge. And I ask that you honor that. I do think that at this point, again, Mr. Ashley has valid incentives to want to make sure that he follows the law and stays on the straight and narrow. His freedom is going to be at line, whether it's from a probationary sentence in this court or not. And beyond that, I do think that he's sufficiently rehabilitated himself in many ways, but with respect to alcohol, to make sure that this is not something that's going to happen again. So, Judge, that's a long way of saying that I agree with the evaluation and recommendation, and I'd ask the court to honor that.
Thank you, sir. The court did have the opportunity to review all of the information prepared by the probation department, that being Stephen Hicks, and was duly impressed that Mr. Ashley did present the certificate from the All Wellbeing Treatment Services showing that he did take this matter seriously, that he did act appropriately by seeking treatment without having been ordered to do so by the court as of yet. And that is more than a lot of people do. I am glad to hear that this incident does not cause him any other issues with his outstanding matters. And this court will counsel, let me back up. I don't lecture. I look at Mr. Ashley's age, and there's no lecture that I can give him that's going to make any difference in how he performs going forward. So I'm not short-circuiting the sentencing in this matter. I just want you to understand that I don't see any point to it. I have 8 sentencings this morning. 7 of them are alcohol related, and his 0.138 is one of the lowest in my stack of files this morning. So that being said, what this court will do is follow the recommendation of probation agent Stephen Hicks, who indicates that this is Mr. Ashley's first drinking and driving offense with this court. His recommendation is that Mr. Ashley not be placed on probation, not face any period of confinement, and that this court simply assess fines, costs, the mandatory state costs, and restitution of Van Buren Township. And that is exactly what this court will do. We'll assess a fine to Mr. Ashley of $300, cost of $300, crime victims fee of $75, restitution of Van Buren Township of $125, the mandatory state cost of $50, and the fund fee of $20. That's a total of $870. My question to you, counsel, will be how much time does your client need to pay this amount?
A couple hours, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
A couple of hours. He'll pay that today.
I thought I misheard you. Okay, a couple of hours. What I'll do, sir, is put a week, just in case he needs that time. The file will be downstairs with probation shortly. Mr. Ashley, this court wishes you the absolute best.
Thank you for that, Your Honor. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for being
Thank
so
you very
prompt
much,
this
Your Honor.
morning. Unless you have anything else, you have a wonderful weekend.
Back at you, Judge. Thank you.
Can I say something real quick before we go?
Lloyd, go ahead.
Your Honor, I'd like to say thank you very much. I am at work right now. I'm getting ready to go do my delivery route. And I don't know when I could get down there today. I don't know what time it closes or whatever. Do I have to go to the courthouse to pay this, or is this something that could be done over the phone with my debit card? Or
You can pay it online, Mr. Ashley. You can bring it to the court, or you can mail it to the court. And that's why I said to your attorney, if you cannot do it today, we are here 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. You can come. I put in the file, you have a week to pay. So that's, if you need that time, that's fine.
okay, that's fine. So if I can't get it today, I can for sure come to the court physically Tuesday and do it because I'm off Tuesday.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Any luck, Mr. Bowditch?
No, Your Honor. I called him twice, left a message. We were prepared last night, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Bowditch, I don't see. Are you doing all of the MIDC sentencings today?
No, Your Honor, just the initial one, just
Okay.
Mr. Banco.
If you have something else you need to do and you want to go and check back with Heather or have Heather reach out to you, that's fine. I'm here, like I said before, and because my last case is scheduled to 10:30, I don't know what you want to do. I don't necessarily
Oh,
want
Your
to
Honor,
issue bench warrant
I
for your
have-
client.
I have faith in Mr. Banco. I'm sure that he's going to be on shortly. So I'll just hang out here for a couple minutes if that's okay.
That's absolutely fine. I'm waiting for the 9 o'clock to show up, so we'll see what happens there.
Okay, Judge.
Thank you.
Judge, I'll take the files because Art is alone today, and so I will dispo them for him.
Well, aren't you wonderful, Heather? I'll bring you Mr. Ashley's file right now.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Borgowski.
Good morning.
Ma'am, we're simply waiting for your attorney. When they arrive, we'll get the matter called, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Heather,
Yes.
I'm looking in this file, Borgowski, and there was an attorney, Cheeto, and it switched to MIDC.
Is there an appearance in there for Cheeto? Was it something that maybe we accidentally fat fingered?
No, Cheeto was here because that's what I wrote on
Oh,
the during the PCCs.
Mm.
And the notice first went out probation generated a notice and had his name on it, and then there's a line drawn through it, and then there's a subsequent notice made out to MIDC. I don't know why that would be.
Yeah, I'm looking now. Yeah,
Thank you.
I don't know. Can we ask Ms. Borgowski if she's spoken to her attorney? If he's still her
That was
attorney?
going to be my question. Ms. Bargowski,
Yes, ma'am.
are you still represented by Mr. Cheeto?
In all honesty, I'm not too sure. I got a call yesterday from a female. I don't quite remember her name, and I haven't been contacted by my other lawyer since the actual in-person court. I think like a month or two ago.
The woman that contacted you yesterday, do you remember any part of her name?
Sharon Greer, I'm gonna guess, because she's supposed to be on this morning for sentencing, and so is Mr. Jadala at 9:45. But Sharon was supposed to be here at 9.
Miss Greer sounds about kind of like sounds familiar to me.
Thank you, Heather. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
ma'am.
Of course.
Oh, I'm wondering if Mr. Cheeto was the assigned counsel for her felony, which was reduced to a misdemeanor. Once
Well,
it's,
Heather, aren't you the most on point?
so that's why she has MIDC, because Mr. Cheeto must have been a court-appointed felony.
That makes absolute sense. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You are welcome. Did you want me to try to call Sharon?
I'm not concerned quite yet. It's only 9:05.
All right.
As I indicated with Mr. Bowditch, we're here until 10:30. So if she's not here, I would say in the next probably 10 minutes, give her a holler. But for right now,
All right.
just kind of hang out and see what happens. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Ms. Greer.
Good morning, Judge. How are you?
I am wonderful, ma'am. How are you?
Okay, I'm here.
Ms. Bargowski is here as well. Do you need to speak to her?
No, we've already spoken, so we're ready to go.
Thank you. This is 210392 FY, State of Michigan versus Alexis Marie Bargowski.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sharon Greer on behalf of Mrs. Bialski. Say it again for me.
Bargowski.
Bargowski. There we go. And she is present on the screen as well, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Greer. Today is the day and time set for sentencing in this matter. Ms. Bargowski comes before this court with an offense date of May the 11th, 2021. The original count was assault with a dangerous weapon. That being felonious assault, she was arraigned in this matter back on May 13, 2021. Entered a plea to a reduced count of aggravated assault, dropping the case from a felony to a misdemeanor on July 7, 2021. Court referred this matter to probation as the plea that was taken was pursuant to HIDA, and the court wanted more information and the opportunity for the victims in this case, that being a Ms. Danielle Petty and a Mr. David Petty, to have the opportunity to appear and make any comment they wish to make for sentencing. It looks like the probation department did send the request for information to both victims independently. There was no response. They have not appeared this morning to be heard. Matter was scheduled for sentencing at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:09 a.m. by the court's clock. The court has reviewed the recommendation prepared by Agent Stephen Hicks and is prepared to render sentence in this matter. Ms. Greer, is there anything that you would like to add regarding the report and recommendation, or is there anything that your client would like to say?
Your Honor, in regards to the recommendation, we are satisfied with the recommendation. But when I went over the report with Ms. Bukowski yesterday evening, there were some discrepancies in the description of the offense and what was reported that she had said to the agent. And I just want to point out a couple of things to the court. She indicated that I'm going to have to go off screen, Your Honor, so I can look at my email. So I just
Yes, ma'am.
want to say that. Thank you. And someone is viciously calling my number, and it's one of those kind of days. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let's see. Your Honor, I'm just going to go to this paragraph that says, the defendant reports she was sitting in her room when she heard arguing outside. She states she went outside with a baseball bat and saw her mother arguing with her neighbor. Ms. Bukowski says that she did not indicate that she went outside with a baseball bat. That what actually happened is when she went outside and saw the man hitting her mother, she went back inside and got the baseball bat. And that's when she hit the male person with the baseball bat. There was one other area as well. Let me see. The defendant reports, it's the paragraph before, Your Honor, I'm sorry. The paragraph before says, the defendant reports having an anger problem and states others have avoided contact with her. She reports breaking objects, punching walls, and calling names out of anger. And Ms. Bukowski indicates that she did not specifically indicate those things to the person that did the report. I believe there may have been a misunderstanding in communication between the two of them. And as he's writing and she's talking, he may have interpreted what she was saying incorrectly, but she's indicating to me that she does not have an anger problem. She is not breaking objects and punching walls. And that would be it in regards to the corrections on the report, Your Honor. I do want to state that the report is accurate when it says there is a toxic relationship with the individuals involved in the situation. But Ms. Brokowski indicates to me that she has not had any contact with them at all, regardless of the fact that they are still neighbors. And she understands the severity of this incident. And I do believe if there is no contact between the parties, that things will definitely go better until her and her mother are able to find a different place to live, which they are actively seeking that at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Greer, this court did conduct the preliminary examination in the companion case, and the testimony in that matter, along with the contents of the police report in this matter, are troubling, concerning, all of those words. One of the victims in the case testified that there's been an escalation of issues between the parties. And the fact that the response to having a verbal dispute includes one person brandishing a Japanese ceremonial sword and a 17-year-old either coming out of the house with a bat or going back into the house and getting a bat and coming back out to deal with a neighbor is concerning and seems to be escalating. And I cannot imagine what Huron Township would think in response to receiving calls that neighbors are conducting themselves this way. That's all the lecture I have for Ms. Bargowski this morning. At 17, it's just concerning that that's the response to run outside with the bat. But in any event, this court has reviewed the police report in this matter, has listened to the comments made by counsel this morning, and will impose the following sentence upon Ms. Bargowski. The court will adopt the recommendation largely of probation agent Stephen Hicks. Ms. Bargowski's plea was tendered pursuant to HIDA and calls for 6 months of probation, and that's what she will receive from this court, 6 months of probation. She will pay probation costs of $240. She will pay a fine of $500, costs of $500, crime victims fee of $75, mandatory state costs of $50, fund fee of $20. That's a total of $1,385. Ms. Bargowski is also ordered to complete 24 hours of community service at a nonprofit organization with documentation provided to probation. And if she has any questions about available community service opportunities, Mr. Hicks can help her with that. She is to have no contact with the victims in that case, that being Danielle Petty and David Petty. I understand that they remain next door neighbors and there appears to be a yard that is immediately adjacent, but no contact means no contact, no direct contact, no contact through social media, no contact through third parties, no contact. The recommendation was that she not return to or be near 22055 Verdon Street, but in as much as, again, they remain next door neighbors, that recommendation will be changed to not return to. So no reason to be in that yard, on that property. There is a recommendation that she not purchase, possess, or consume alcoholic beverages or controlled substances without the judge's approval with testing as directed to probation. And as much as Ms. Bargowski is not of legal age to purchase, possess, or consume alcohol, the court is modifying that recommendation, and the order would be that she not possess, purchase, consume controlled substances. There is some indication that the agent thinks that she should be directed to download Uber or Lyft with documentation to probation. I don't see that that's a necessary condition.
That
and
was the
she
other
may-
area I wanted to address, Your Honor. So I thank you for bringing that up.
And that she make payments on these costs that are due in this matter. So the court has adopted the recommendation as relates to fines, costs, the length of the probation, the community service. I'm sorry, I skipped this one, that she provide documentation of mental health treatment from Western Wayne as directed by probation. I am going to leave that in because the response to whatever the issue was between the defendant's mother and the neighbor, the court has some concern. No contacts in place, don't return to the neighbor's property. That completes the sentence that will be imposed upon Ms. Bargowski. Any questions, Ms. Greer?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Bargowski, the court wishes you the absolute best in this matter. Your file will be returned to probation. And please be sure to document what you're supposed to document and respond to requests for information and documentation from probation department.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a great weekend.
You too, Ms. Greer.
Your Honor, I
Sir.
have solved the Mr. Banco mystery. Mr. Banco had a seizure last night. He's been admitted to Beaumont Hospital in Wayne, Michigan. So he won't be attending today.
Mr. Bowditch, I'm trying to think of what my next sentence dates are. And we'll adjourn it over, we'll mail out a new date to Mr. Banco.
That's fine, Your Honor. I'm not even sure. These seizures are not common for him, so I'm not sure what's going on with Mr. Banco, and I'm not sure how long he's going to be in a hospital. According to his mother, who I just spoke to, this has only happened over the last couple of days, and I assured her it in my opinion, had nothing to do with the sentencing. He was very comfortable when I spoke to him last night. I don't think he was experiencing anxiety over a sentence. So I'm not sure what's going on with him, but if he's notified by mail, Your Honor, he'll contact me and I'll get notice if the court doesn't have an available date right on the spot.
I'm sure we can find what it is. I just don't remember off the top of my head. My calendar's in the office. So if you sit tight for 1 second, let me run and see if I can get that date for you, sir.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
This is 21BL00051AOD. This is the matter of City of Belleville versus Joseph Philip Banco. Mr. Beldich, the court has noted your appearance for the record, and there is an issue where Mr. Banco is physically not available for today's scheduled sentencing that was scheduled at 8:30. It's now 9:28 by the court's clock. Mr. Beldich has indicated to this court that Mr. Banco has had a medical situation arise. For that reason, today's sentencing will be adjourned. The new date will be September 23rd, 2021 at 9 a.m. back in courtroom number 1 by Zoom.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else in this matter, Mr. Bowditch?
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you for the court's patience.
Thank you. Thank you for your persistence in finding out what the situation was, sir.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Have a good day. There's actually a 9:30. Good morning, Mr. Brown. Oh. Good morning, Mr. Brown.
Good morning.
Waiting for Mr. Jadala, okay? Thank you, sir. Good morning, Mr. Jadala.
Good morning, Judge Martin.
Do you need to speak to Mr. Brown before this matter is called?
I've already spoken to him, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. This is 2102650D, City of Romulus versus Timothy Squire Brown. Appearances, please.
Respectfully, Your Honor, Sam Richard Jadala, P62186, appearing on behalf of Mr. Brown. Your Honor, today is the date and time set for sentencing. I've had the opportunity to go over the pre-sentence report with Mr. Brown. There seems to be no errors, omissions, corrections, or deletions. We just respectfully request that this court adopts the recommendations made by probation.
Thank you. Today is the day and time set for sentencing in a matter that began with an offense date of September 27, 2020, wherein Mr. Timothy Squire Brown was charged with operating while intoxicated enhanced in the city of Romulus. He was arraigned on June 3rd, 2021, appeared before this court on June 3rd, 2021, and enter a plea to the reduced count of operating while visibly impaired. There were some issues with getting Mr. Brown through the probation process, but this court has now received a recommendation from probation agent Stephen Hicks. What is troubling to this court is that Mr. Brown appears on his second drinking and driving offense since 2018, with 4 alcohol-related offenses from 2017 through now. The other concern is that this incident occurred at approximately 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Mr. Brown had a blood alcohol of 0.285. That being said, that's the extent of this court's lecture for the morning. The court will adopt the recommendation of Stephen Hicks, the probation agent, will sentence Mr. Brown to a period of 12 months of probation, impose probation costs of $480, fine of $300, cost of $300, crime victims fee of $75, mandatory state cost of $50, $20 fund fee, restitution to the city of Romulus of $200, 30 days of alcohol monitoring at the defendant's expense. Mr. Brown is to engage in substance abuse treatment beginning within 30 days and follow all the recommendations of the probation department and submit the documentation that is requested. He will not purchase, possess, consume alcoholic beverages or controlled substances without the court's approval, with testing as directed by probation. Mr. Brown is directed to download the Uber and/or Lyft app on his phone with documentation provided to the probation department. This is a new measure that the probation department is using to encourage people that if they are for some reason out drinking, although they're not supposed to be while they're on this probation, that they have an alternate means to get home or back to where they're supposed to be. Mr. Brown will make payments on the fines and costs assessed in this matter during the pendency of his probation. Anything further, Mr. Jadala?
I have nothing to add, Judge. Thank you.
Anything, Mr. Brown?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, I wish you good luck on this probation. Mr. Jadala, thank you for joining us this morning. Both of you have a wonderful weekend.
You have a wonderful day and weekend, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Shotwell.
Good morning.
We're waiting for your attorney, sir.
All right, Your Honor.
Thank you.
How are you this morning, Your Honor?
I am wonderful, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
Good morning, Mr. Sheena.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you, sir?
I'm awesome today. Thank you so much.
Do you need to speak to your client before we begin sentencing this matter?
No, Your Honor. We already reviewed the report and we're ready.
Thank you. This is 201642 SD, State of Michigan versus Nicholas Anthony Shotwell. Appearance, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Gregory Sheena, P 74815 on behalf of the defendant. Your Honor, today's the date and time set for sentencing. I have reviewed the pre-sentence investigation report with my client. There's no additions, deletions, or corrections, and we are ready to allocate whenever the court shall allow.
Please proceed, sir.
Your Honor, my client received this ticket almost 2 years ago today. He has not had any issues with bond, has not been in any other trouble. He had one previous arrest back in 2014. He was placed on 6 months probation and that got dismissed. He's definitely learned a very valuable lesson throughout all this. He does have a wonderful job. He did just buy a new house. The recommendation is for fines and costs. He does have $300 today. If you can give him 90 days to pay the rest, he would have everything paid. If you can respectfully adopt that recommendation for the fines and costs, we would definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Shotwell, is this the first home that you've owned?
Yes, Your Honor.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. And it's a pleasure to have a great job working at Amazon for almost 3 years in Romulus by the airport.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Mr.
I've been
Sheena,
there since
the
launch.
court, I'm sorry.
I've been there since launch pretty much.
And I'm sure you've been particularly busy over this last 18 months or so.
Oh, yeah.
The court did have the opportunity to review the pre-sentence report and the police report in this matter, and the court does note that this offense occurred back on August 31st, 2019 at Detroit Metro Airport, which is in the city of Romulus, where Mr. Shotwell was charged with operating while intoxicated. He was arraigned in this matter on April 28, 2021, and the charge was thereafter reduced to operating while impaired by a controlled substance. This court has heard the argument of counsel or the statements of counsel this morning and will adopt the recommendation of Stephen Hicks of this court's probation department. Mr. Shotwell will not be placed on any period of probation, but what the court will do is assess a fine of $300, cost of $200. There's crime victims of $75. Mandatory state cost of $50, fund fee of $20, restitution to the airport of $165. That's a total of $810. Mr. Sheena, I heard you indicate that your client has $300 and would need 90 days to pay the balance of what this court has just imposed. So the notation in the file is $810 payable over the next 90 days.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. I appreciate everything.
Anything else in this matter, Mr. Sheena?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Mr. Shotwell, this court wishes you the absolute best, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a good day, sir.
You as well, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Drinkwine.
Good morning, Your Honor.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I am wonderful. Thanks for asking. We are waiting for the attorney to appear this morning. Your matter is scheduled at 10:15. It's not quite 10 o'clock yet, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Mr. Drinkwine,
Yes.
can you please block your video, please? There's no smoking in the courtroom. So if you can, thank you.
Gonna be another hot day. Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
After quarter or whatever, I'll probably see where that pork butt is. Get to smoking that. I think I'm just gonna break the wood chips and shit off into little pieces. I don't want to get it too hot like I did that beef brisket. I'm so mad. So mad.
Costs too much money to do that.
Right.
I was gonna say too, you might want to put the grill where in the shade. It's over there, 'cause it's so hot.
Right.
You should get all in your hand.
Right.
Just invite them another time.
Yeah. I tried texting my cousin, but he never got back to me, so I don't know. Stuff that. I guess we're just waiting on my lawyer. My hearing is until 10:15. But I figured I'd get in there a little early.
Is that Sunday off?
Yeah.
And so maybe we could do something similar. You have to call your parents, see what usually.
But
It's like a weekend would be good.
yeah. don't know if she's working that back to school thing Saturday or what.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. She hasn't said anything to me about it, so I probably wouldn't go work it anyway. You know, I'm exhausted. That food drive, you know, enough for me.
And you're gonna have to tell her you're tired. Unless they want you to know. Whatever. You tell her, you need to work, you gotta put the mask.
I wear myself out all the time. Yeah. Yeah, especially working at a food drive and all that crap.
Oh, Miss Belcher's here. Good morning, Miss Belcher.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Just when you thought you were done seeing me for the week, I'm here on a Friday.
Do you need time to speak to your client this morning?
No, Your Honor, we're ready.
This is 21BB00784AOD, Van Buren Township versus Frederick James Drinkwine. Appearance,
Good morning.
please.
Leanna Belcher on behalf of Mr. Drinkwine. Sir, will you please state your name for the judge?
Frederick James Drinkwine.
Mr. Drinkwine, would you remove your cap, please? Thank you. Ms. Belcher, today is the day and time set for sentencing in this matter. There's an alleged, well, not even alleged anymore. There is an offense date of March 17, 2021 in Van Buren Township. Mr. Drinkwine was charged with operating while intoxicated. He was arraigned in this matter on July 15, 2021 and tendered a plea to the reduced count of operating while visibly impaired. The court has reviewed the pre-sentence report and recommendation from probation agent Stephen Hicks, has also reviewed the police report in this matter. Is there anything, Ms. Belcher, that you'd like to say at this time?
Your Honor, I did have an opportunity to review the report with my client. We do find it to be factually accurate with no additions, corrections, or deletions to be made to the report. I've also reviewed the recommendation with my client. We would respectfully ask that Your Honor adopt the recommendation posed by Mr. Stephen Hicks.
Thank you. Ms. Belcher, you've done a sentencing with this court before. You know the court does not lecture. There's no point to it. There are 8 sentencings this morning. 7 of them are alcohol related. It's sad to report that Mr. Drinkwine is actually the least drunk of the offenders this morning with a 0.09. That being the case, that's all that I'll say about that. And the court will adopt the recommendation of Stephen Hicks, will impose fines and costs and community services recommended by the report. The fine in this matter will be $300. Costs will be $300. There's a crime victims of 75. Restitution to Van Buren Township of $125. Mandatory state costs of $50. Fund fee of $20. The 48 hours of community service at a nonprofit. And as much as Mr. Hicks has indicated that Mr. Drinkwine is not to be placed on probation, this court will not place him on probation. That, by my math, is $870 in this matter for fines and costs. Mr. Drinkwine, when you complete the community service, you should submit the documentation to the probation department. If you need assistance in finding community service to complete, you can contact the probation department and they can provide you some assistance and guidance. Anything else in this matter, Ms. Belcher?
No, Your Honor. I would just indicate to Mr. Drinkwine if he does need a payment plan for those fines and costs that he contact the court.
Okay.
You can go onto the court's website, sir. There is a button for you to submit a request for a payment plan, or you can call the court's collection department, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Belcher. Anything else?
No, Your Honor. Thank you. I hope you have a good day and a good weekend.
You too, ma'am. Thank you. Have a good weekend, Mr. Drinkwine.
Yep, you as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Heather, Heather, Heather. No, there's no 10:30. And the 9 o'clock, well, not 9 o'clock, the 9:30 didn't show up. Oh,
I think I heard you say that.
I did say it. I didn't write it.
No, only because this isn't gonna be in the files.
Wait a minute.
Right, recommendation accepted that he's not being put on probation, but I thought you still, yeah. Did you say
I say when what?
when it's due?
No. Oh, see what I did. Thank you for bringing this back, because what I don't normally do is do this, because then what Virginia does, and I just, that, when I write like this, and I did it in the other files, and I send it back down to her, because I adopt the recommendation in its entirety. I said it, I didn't write it though. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, so then I'm just gonna give it back to her and she'll tell him when the community service is due.
I didn't tell him when it was due. So no, I don't know. Oh gee, thanks. Oh, because the other one was on probation, so it was a fixed period of time.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why'd you come through that door?
What other one do you want me to come with?
I don't care. I use this one. I don't know if it doesn't matter to me.
Oh, I guess. Oh, Judge. For the last client, Rebecca Wycombe, she is unable to get onto Zoom. Art's trying to walk her through it. He is giving her the audio number for her to come through on her cell phone. It looks like she does not have an attorney. If you read the Register of Actions from June 23rd, it looks like we've had the same issue.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, it was June 3rd, not 23rd.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
Thank you. I was looking for. I was looking for something else too. While we're waiting for Ms. Wycombe, we had case number 20HR12019OD. This case would be Huron Township versus Jessica Asensio. This matter was scheduled for sentencing today at 9:30. The probation department did send notice of today's sentencing to both the defendant and to her attorney of record, that being Ronald D. French. That notice went out on July the 19th, so over a month ago. Neither Ms. Asensio nor her attorney have appeared this morning. It is now 10:38 a.m. by the court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, bench warrant in this matter shall issue. 5,000, 10%. And Heather, I understand the connection issue for Ms. Weekum. If it was an issue 2.5 months ago, then I would expect different preparations. It was scheduled for 10:30. Typically, 15 minutes time is allowed to address these connection issues, so we will wait.
Yep,
a
Art's
little bit
calling me
longer.
again. I'm gonna answer this call from Art.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning,
Your name, please.
Rebecca Wycombe.
Thank you.
I apologize.
This is 210204OD. City of Romulus versus Rebecca Lynn Wycombe. Ms. Wycombe, today is the day and time set for your sentencing in this matter. Have you received the recommendation that was prepared by the probation department?
I have, yes.
Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions you'd like to make regarding either the report or the recommendation of the probation agent?
Actually, the report is incorrect. I stopped using cocaine in 2020. On the report, it says 2021. That is incorrect. I stopped using marijuana and cocaine in 2020. I'm seeking help. I am, I go to rehabilitation through therapy every Thursday as well group therapy. And I go to meetings that I love to attend to twice a day in Michigan. They're very helpful.
Was there anything else, ma'am?
No, I'm not a bad person. Sick person needs help. I'm striving for that.
Well, ma'am, today is the day and time set for your sentencing. I've made a notation regarding what you indicate are the inaccuracies in the report. And the court will state the following, that on June 21st, 2020, in the city of Romulus, you came in contact with law enforcement and subsequently were charged with operating with blood alcohol content of 0.17 or more. That you appeared for arraignment on June 3rd, 2021, and entered a plea to being to operating while visibly impaired. You were sent to interview with the probation department, completed that interview, and a report was generated. There is also, I'm sorry, the second charge of driving while license suspended, revoked, or denied. You've entered pleas of guilty to that as well. The recommendation from the probation department indicates that you're before the court on your second drinking and driving offense since February of 2020, that you accepted responsibility and claimed abstinence from alcohol since July 7th of 2021, that you acknowledge that you have an alcohol problem, that you need treatment. You indicated to Mr. Hicks that you're on probation to the Third Circuit Court, that being in Wayne County, that you were unable to provide adequate documentation of that probation. What Mr. Hicks has recommended and what this court will adopt is the following sentence: that you pay for the operating while visibly impaired, that you be assessed a fine of $300, cost of $300, crime victims of $75, mandatory state cost of $50, fund fee of $20, and restitution to the city of Romulus of $200. That's a total of $945. For the driving while license suspended, the court is going to assess a fine of $500, cost of $100. There is the state cost of $50 and a fund fee of $20. Ma'am, what the court will have you do, you will not be placed on probation in either of these matters. What the court would suggest you do is contact the court's collection department, or you go outside online to the court's website, mi34districtcourt.com, and submit an email request for a payment plan in this matter. Anything else, Ms. Wycombe?
No, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Ma'am, we are all set. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye-bye. Heather, I am going to
Shut us down.